What's happening, guys? Safety Liner C2 here. Question of the month. As always, we're going to review last month's question and then get into this month's question. Just as a reminder, last month's question was, what was your favorite experience with a driver or transportation employee? We're going to start with the video submissions first, and if you want to submit a video, check the description to see how you can do that. All right, we're going to start with Caleb and see what he has to say.
Hello everybody, Schnurr Gaming here today. A lot of you know me as Caleb. I'm going to go ahead and answer this month's question of the month. I have several different driver stories. We're going to go ahead and get right into it because it's going to take me a little bit. The first one is May of 2019. When I met our driver named Nikki. She was doing Big Truck Day in Godfrey, Illinois, which is right down the street from me. I live in Alton, but Godfrey's right down the road. I live almost on the Alton-Godfrey line. But anyway, she was doing Big Truck Day, and she took these pictures for me. Also, my friend didn't want to. He came with me. He didn't want to. He came with me because he wanted to look at vehicles with me and hang out for a little bit. So she took the pictures for me. At least she was nice enough. And yes, I brought my camera. So that's how I was able to get these pretty cool pictures. Definitely fun. First time sitting in the driver's seat of the bus. I also got to talk with her. I told her, how I am into buses, and she's like, oh, really? Are you gonna come and work for us? How long? She still asks me how long to this day, but it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, definitely had a fun time that day. It was also my first time on a 40-footer Gillig. But yeah. We're going to go to story number 2 with my driver friend named Jimmy. He's been a driver since 1997. Oh, yeah, Nikki's a friend, too, by the way. I didn't mention that, but definitely one of my favorites. But anyway, Jimmy, I met him the summer of 2019. I think it was like August, or not August, maybe it was August or July or something, but my supervisor friend, I asked him what run he was doing because I wanted to meet him because everybody said that he's their favorite driver. Coming to find out, I see why everybody liked him so much. No, it's not the picture thing. He's a really cool guy. Yes, he's a little silly sometimes, but he's a really cool guy. And we've known each other since then. I go out on occasion just to go ride with him, and talk with him and stuff. But yeah, it's definitely some cool times. Right now, he is in Edwardsville doing the 800 runs, which right now he's doing. Well, this next week he'll be doing the Cougar Shuttle until May when their new bids take effect. I have a feeling he'll probably be back in Alton, but I haven't talked to him about it, so I don't know. But anyway, I've known him since then, and this was from November. You're going to hear some sirens in a second. I apologize. But he took my picture. He pulled up to the mall. He was like, hey, buddy, do you have a phone with a camera? And I told him, yeah, I do. And he told me to get into the driver's seat. He took my picture, and these are the pictures he took. Very happy about it, too, by the way. This is my profile picture on Facebook. And then, very cool. And by the way, this was my favorite bus, so it was even better. My favorite 2010, and probably second favorite. Well, sometimes it was my favorite, but yeah, it was definitely really cool. And he's a really cool guy. Moment I met him, it was really sweet. He's something. Sometimes he's something else. Sometimes he's also hilarious, and he's just a cool guy. Like I said, he's been there since '97, so he's been around every batch of heavy-duty buses we've had. Between the new Flyers, the Orions were getting retired when he joined. He was telling me all about the Orions a few weeks ago. And then he's seen both batches of Gilligs, the 2010 through 2012s and the 2020s. Brand new, by the way. But yeah, that'll pretty much do it for that. And then I have a driver friend named Eddie, who I've known since, what is it? I think I've actually known him the longest, maybe 2018, because he used to be my driver going to school in the morning. He used to do the trip that went to school. The first time I met him, okay, I was running late. I left the house a little late. He was coming up 9th Street, which is the street my bus comes down. And I didn't happen to know that I left the house late. Well, there the bus is. Luckily, the passenger on the bus recognized me. He said, "I would have left you if I didn't know it was you." That was the first time I met him. And after I got to know him, I realized how cool he was. But, yeah, I've had some stories with him. I've also rode with him on many routes, too, just like I have Jimmy. It's definitely a cool story. I have all their contact information now. So, I, of course, keep up with them and... Well, actually, I probably should do better at that. But, yeah, definitely some cool stories. Those are my driver interactions I've had. I know it's probably weird, some of it, but, I'm glad I could tell you all of it. But like I said, I have Asperger's. This has definitely opened up communication for me. I felt comfortable talking to these drivers, and it's definitely helped me. And I'm very glad I have these relationships. I consider all of them to be friends, and definitely fortunate, But anyway, that'll do for my response. Thank you, Cameron, for doing this, like I say every month. Also, I like seeing everybody's reactions. Very cool to see what other people do, and just what everything else happens everywhere else. And that'll pretty much do it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Caleb, as always, for submitting. Always great to hear from you. It really sounds like you have a great group of drivers there. And honestly, just, drivers are awesome people. There's just a lot of great drivers out there. And I'm glad that there are so many who support the hobby. Alright, this second video comes from Connor, bus driver 43. Let's see what it is.
I got to get backwards without us getting here.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to go through this way.
Wait a minute, I see something I'm going to borrow right there. Hey, you guys in the back, don't let me hit this horse fence. We gotta make a change here.
Everybody in the back, make sure you don't hit that.
That's it. Come on back. We already got the cops here, so we won't have to wait as long.
I wonder if we hit a kid or not.
We can't see out the window.
Okay, well, I can't either, so we'll go back till we hear something.
But we got the backup camera.
I can see it. Hang on.
You see that backup camera?
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. It's pain.
Oh, I feel bad for Dan.
Good. We are good.
Hey, stop. There's
Okay, watch your head on the trees, but I don't know where they are, but we'll figure it out.
I see trees.
Now, does anybody know how to get there?
Yeah, I got you. I got you, buddy.
Well, there was a lot going on there. That was something. He seems pretty cool. Something similar actually happened. I think it was my sophomore year. There was a road just like this, and right here was the exit, and there was an accident right here that just happened about 2 minutes before, and there are no good driveways to back down because it was kind of a rural road, and we had to back up all that way, which made us late to school. So obviously backing up a bus with a bunch of kids in it is not a good idea, but is absolutely necessary in scenarios like this. So good on your driver for making sure to ask the students for help, constantly checking the mirrors, and for you to remind him that he had a backup camera. Alright, this video comes from Kingston. Let's see what it is.
You'll put your masks up. In the back, mask up. about trying to be a jerk, you know, you guys are off for the next 2 days because they're cleaning. But in the meantime, you guys have a significant increase in the number of COVID cases at the father's home. So it's not about me trying to be a jerk. It's about me trying to keep you alive. I don't want to see you off the bus because you're sick. I'd rather see you on the bus because you're healthy.
Well, I mean, he's not wrong. Just doing his job, trying to keep everyone safe and alive. So, good on him for that. Alright, let's move over to the comment submission, starting off with GeneGamer76, who said, one of my district of one time, my bus driver was a lady, and she was nice, and talk about things that are something interesting that I was in elementary, like I don't remember. But yeah, that's my story. Go23 said, to answer the question, even though I've rode the bus before, it's been about 13 months since, but there is one moment I can remember that isn't really a favorite per se, but I will remember it for a while. So it was sometime in 2019 pre-COVID, and I'm riding the bus home. At the time I was on Route 500 on 4170 and 05 CE 300 with the DT466E. We turned left onto a street, and I was sitting down probably in the second seat back on the driver's side. I'm just chilling, and all of a sudden my driver honks the horn and does the old slam on the brakes real hard to avoid hitting someone maneuver, and yes, it launched me forward into the next seat because 4170 has air brakes. We apparently stopped because a cop car didn't see an obnoxious faded out 10-foot tall school bus coming towards him. At first my driver gestures him to go, then the officer gestures the bus driver to go, so we go and continue. Now there was a reason that 4170 had a brake work done. I'll say it to sum it up briefly. When I first got on that bus, it had one of the world's loudest brakes I had ever heard on a bus, hands down. I mean, fair enough. Hey, I know how some of those constables are up there, but you know, that's just... You think that the cop would have been paying attention, especially with the school bus. Bus 26 said, there's no one particular instance I've had that stands out to me, but I've always loved taking bus 49, my middle school's activity bus, home from school. There were like 50 stops on the route. I'm so sorry to the driver, since it was the only late bus for the entire area served by my school. It often took over an hour, and I was one of the later stops, but what route we would take and where we would stop depended on what students were on the bus. We would write down our stop number on a paper and hand it to the driver. She was a nice driver too. In general, I just loved the experience on that bus. It was a long but interesting route, a nice driver, and a great bus. I love our D3Rs. 4019 is a 2014 D3RE with LED brake lights and turn signals, as well as LED interior lights. Chris Safety Liner C2 said, my favorite bus driver experience was my high school driver who was a lady. She was the nicest driver in my district, even though I didn't know other bus drivers from the other cities in Lake County, Florida. But my high school driver received a 2017 C2 when my sophomore year started. She would actually play music while driving her bus. I know none of the other drivers would do the things she does. Yes, her other bus had a stereo, but she was a great driver. She got her bus stops 15 minutes early, and I really liked her thinking. I really miss riding that bus. I enjoyed talking to her, but technically it's a rule that you can't talk to the driver, but she didn't care. I talked to her about how much I love her C2. The bus was one of the best riding buses ever. I also sat behind the driver, and I actually watched her drive, and I had so much fun. If you ever see a C2, you should try to ride one. It's a fun riding bus. I don't think that I can just hop on any C2 and just hope that I can get a ride. The only thing I might get is arrested. Yeah, but I've heard the rule of, oh, drivers and students can't talk. That's a stupid rule. Who cares, you know? I understand you should probably be paying attention to the road, but you can pay attention to the road and talk. John said, back in 5th grade, I would usually be one of the last off my late bus. Now, towards the end of that route, I would move up to the front of the bus and talk to the driver. Now, keep in mind, he has worked for the district for 15 to 20 years and also graduated from it. So it was really cool talking about some of the older buses and, like, the history of the fleet. Also, my late bus was a DTCE, so it was also fun listening to it drive up the big rolling hills in upstate New York. Similarly to that, I personally know how great it is to have someone who also knows the same fleet that you're talking about. In this case, it would be CFISD, because I went there and John, Texas Street Man, went there. So it's always great talking to him about that and learning more about what we had in the past, him knowing the older stuff, and me knowing the newer stuff. Also, if you're in CFISD and you're a bus fan, they're getting ICREs. Look at that. I spent like 15 minutes freaking out over this. This is the first Type D in the whole district, ever. Also, that was the 200,000th bus made by IC, so pretty cool that it's a Sci-Fair bus. AJ Deer T680 said, last year my school board switched companies, and it's a smaller company, so many times I've had the owner of the company do my route to sub in, and we talked a lot about buses, and I learned a lot of cool things. It ended up resulting in him getting an A3 on my route a few times because he was nice enough to arrange that. I could go into much more detail since it's a big story, but that's probably the best moment. Also, I have route videos on my channel of some of the different buses now. Super appreciative of that. That is just an awesome TD right there. Switching buses around so you can get something that you actually want to ride. Like, how lucky are you? And what a great TD. I see the bus guy said, when my bus driver gave me and my twin brother a birthday cake on my birthday, what the heck? Where is this? Why didn't I go to school there? I wanted a birthday cake from my bus driver. And then again, I have a summer birthday, so that really wouldn't have worked out. Flaming Dino 9 said, in 9th and 10th grade, I had this bus driver. Her name was Miss Julie, and she was the sweetest driver. She would bring us candy on Fridays, and she would have me take the bag of candy up and down the aisle, and I would sit up front all the time and talk with her. I also had a bus driver in 8th grade. He was a cool bus driver. His name was Bob, and I remember I think he gave me a shirt that said my name on it, and co-pilot of Route 71. I hope I get a cool bus driver for 12th grade. Candy? T-shirts? Man, why? Why didn't I get these drivers? Riggs of Rod's Vehicle Simulation said, the first one was about 2 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago at this point. I got to go to my district's bus garage and meet the transportation director. He was very respectful and he was an enthusiast. I was able to tell because when I told him he liked the spec, he replied, yeah. He let me get on a bus, sit in the driver's seat, operate all of the lights, do a lamp check, operate the door and all of the switches. He also let me do whatever I wanted, took me seriously, and didn't treat me like I was stupid. The second one was 2 years ago. My driver was very respectful. I asked to sit up front, and that ended up being my assigned seat. I always watched her operate the dash and stuff, then we started having conversations. One day, I became her backup in case of emergency. Then I ended up teaching her a lot about the bus. I even taught her what a few of the functions did, and then we ended up becoming friends at the end of it. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Having a TD as a bus enthusiast is just awesome and an absolute must. I'm glad that he actually took you seriously too, because I have heard stories of, TDs just not caring and not taking, bus enthusiasts seriously. Bluebird 286 said, one of my favorite driver experiences was when my grandma was my bus driver a couple years ago. And after her route, she took me to her lot and showed me around all the buses and even took me in the bus garage and office area. Her bus was an 07 CE Shorty with a VT365. That T3 FE school bus said, long story short, for my birthday, my favorite bus driver took me to a huge water park and we stayed there until closing time. My old driver, she was a rule breaker, so she snuck in pizzas and we really just enjoyed that day. She would also let me sit in the driver's seat whenever I wanted to. So many great memories there with her. CSX8817 Production said, in all of my 18 years of schooling, I met all kinds of drivers, but the one I liked the most was in 7th through 11th grade, a really nice bus driver in School District of Philadelphia. He was always on time and never late. I rode his bus while my original driver had surgery. His bus in my 7th and 8th grade year was 924, an 07 All-American. I helped him with the wheelchair lift sometimes, and he even showed me how to operate it. Then in 11th grade, he drove my favorite 07 Bluebird All-American, bus 930. I was so happy he drove it. I even rode on it for a day while I was on another bus. He let me move the bus up and park the bus while other drivers were leaving. And now he drives a 2010 Vision, bus 553, and ever since I graduated last year, I'll always remember him. His name was Samuel Charles, one of the best drivers out there. Corbin said, gotta say my favorite driver experience was on the last day of school in 2019. We had a 2017 C2 and had made a few stops until I realized we weren't going anywhere. Me being the mechanic I am, I walked to the front of the bus to see what the issue was. My bus driver said she couldn't get her door to open. Thankfully, she was completely open to one of my options. Of course, our C2s have air doors, so I was able to narrow things down a bit. Long story short, the valve to the left of the driver down below the switch panel didn't have enough air running to the door. The access door to that panel doesn't require any tools, so I took it off and fixed it myself. I was still pretty new with that bus driver, so she didn't know that I had spent time working at our garage, so she was rather impressed. I was thankful she let me help her out. You know, it probably helps that you own your own bus too. Bus Driver 385 production said, one of my two favorite drivers that I've ever had are Bus Driver 1 and Bus Driver 2, for privacy reasons. Bus Driver 1 drove Bus 445, a 2011 CE that I rode near the end of 2nd grade, and all of 3rd grade I had a lot of good memories with her. She was one of those drivers who was pretty chill, but she did get serious when she needed to. And the second driver was Bus Driver 2, who drove buses 425, an '08 HDX, and 385, an '04 A3RE. I wonder where you get your name from. And I rode 425 near the beginning of 5th grade. 425 had transmission problems, so it was moved over to the spare line, and we got 385 to finish off for the year. This is when I began to get back into buses, and one day too, I told her I was a bus enthusiast. We'd always talk to each other, and 385 would become my favorite bus. And last but not least, that bus dude said, my best experience happened about 6 years ago, during one of my several visits to sunny Merryman's, Virginia Thomas dealer. Jeff, who was the manager of the used bus area, gave me a welcome message on their electronic billboard when I arrived, and I was also featured on their Facebook page. For lunch, Jeff invited my family and I to Applebee's and told us fascinating stories about his experience in the used bus industry. The one that stuck with me the most, by far, was when the president of Gambia had called him personally to thank him for all of the buses he had exported to them. Overall, it was a great experience, having taken over 600 photos of their used buses and really getting to hear the inside scoop of what goes down in the used bus business. People like Jeff are what motivates me to continue to travel and photograph buses, and I will always be grateful for his kindness and hospitality whenever I took a trip down to Sunny's. That honestly sounds like a really great experience, but did you ever consider he's a used bus salesman and he might have been trying to get you all to buy a bus? Totally kidding there, but like I said, that honestly seems like a really great experience there. Alright, now we are moving on to the question for this month. So I've actually asked this question before, but due to some pretty big news that I am super excited about, I'm going to ask it again. So just putting it out there first, the question is, are you district or contract owned? What's around you? What do you prefer and all of that? The reason I'm asking this, you might have heard that there's a certain contractor that just got sold. So said contractor may or may not be First Student, and it may or may not have been for $4.6 billion. Now, like I said, it sold, so it's under a new company. It's called EQT. I have no idea who they are. I don't know anything about them, but it's new leadership. Just did a quick look up. It just looks like EQT is an investment organization according to Google. So, does that mean that First Student could get better? Yes. Does that mean that First Student will get better? I don't know. Am I still going to give First Student a lot of crap? Yes. So mind you, First Student is freaking huge. According to this article, it is the largest contractor in America, which I'm pretty sure we already knew that, with over 43,000 school buses in operation currently. Now, the sale of First Student is something that has been talked about for quite some time. It didn't just come out of the blue, out of nowhere. But, you know, me being the not so First Student fan I am, I always like hearing this stuff. So now that the company is under new leadership, I really am interested to see how things are going to work out for them. Anyways, let's just move past that. Let's get back to the question, district or contract. We are district owned. 99% of everything around here is district owned, except for one district that is contracted by Durham. Now, just Arizona overall is a Durham state. I have seen First Students here and there, but the majority of the contractors that I've seen have been through Durham. So I'm sure if you've been on the channel before, you will know that I am no fan of contractors myself, and I think everything should be district owned and operated. I'll eventually have to do a video kind of explaining my reasoning behind that, but we're just going to end it at that. Alright, so there we go. Are you district owned? Are you contract owned? What's around you? What do you prefer? all of that stuff. Let me know in the comments below or by submitting a video, which you can find instructions on how to submit that in the description. So yeah guys, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Always appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe right down here. It's a magical red button that says you are now subscribed to Safety Liner C2. Make sure that you comment up here, down here, over here, or over here. I don't know where they put it down in care they put it. Make sure you also give this video a thumbs up, or First Student is just going to keep on getting sold and sold and sold, and we don't want that. And make sure you also share this video with a friend, show it to your mom, show it to your dad, show it to a guy on a random street. I don't care, don't let anything happen to you. So yeah guys, that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching.